last 3 to 4 years, we have seen more college football players bust from expectations than ever. Like we saw a first round draft class that we come in projecting them where we see a Drew Aller, we see a Gary Nussmeier, we see a K Klubnik. These were the guys that we expect to be the best quarterbacks in college football. And don't get me wrong, I do still believe in some of these guys. But we saw this week DJ Lagway throw 3 interceptions. We saw Gary Nussmeier not be able to put a touchdown in against Alabama. An LSU Alabama game where we've seen the last 10 years have been great matchups that we want to watch, like we want to tune into. And it was just not that. Gary Nussmeier was completely shut down. And I understand Gary Nussmeier battling through injuries the whole year. LSU firing their coach. The team has not been as expected. But again, we talked about how much we love the wide receiver room they built around Garrett Nussmeier. We talked about how much we liked Caden Durham as a running back. We talked about in the beginning of the year that this defense showed up way more than we expected. Like, what is it now? And I want to get your guys' opinions. You could drop it down below. That I feel like when I was growing up 10 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, whatever it was, when we saw first round NFL prospects in the beginning of the year, we would always see them live up to the hype pretty much. And they would end the year around where they were projected in the beginning of the year. It's just not the same nowadays. It's just not. When we looked about a couple of years back, when we saw DJ Ungale and we saw Spencer Rattler be top Heisman candidates, be projected NFL first rounders, that didn't happen. Again, we saw last year Carson Beck projected to be the number one pick. That didn't happen. That's to stay another year in school. This year, like I said, Gary Nussmeier, Drew Aller, Cade Klubnik, they all handle different adversity. But again, that's who we were projected being the first round picks. It's just not happening. Why are all these guys that we are projected to be first round talents necessarily busting in college football? I want to get your guys' opinions on that. Now, I think it's going to be extremely important for whoever handles this Florida job. Now, we know Florida has the resources in the SEC to be a top team in the SEC, but it's going to be super important for a guy that we know that could make every throw in the field in DJ Lagway, throwing 3 interceptions multiple times in college football, that they get the best out of him. Now, I do expect Garrett Nussmeier and DJ Lagway, 2 guys that got benched this weekend, to still start for the remainder of the year, but it's crazy. It's insane that we see first rounders, our projected first round in the beginning of the year, be completely different at the end of the year. It's going to be interesting to see where all these guys go as far as next year's draft class with a Gary Nussmeier, with a Drew Aller, with a Cade Klubnik. Like, where are they going to go? Who's going to take the shots on them? And what round? Going to be extremely interesting. Now, I do think Gary Nussmeier still has the ability to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And again, I'm not giving up on DJ Lagway, but they're going to need a guy in Florida to really believe in DJ Lagway and fix this. Because, again, like I said, DJ Lagway, with his physical gifts, has the ability to do everything on a football field. But the decision making just hasn't quite been there. And we've seen, like, again, the biggest thing for me with quarterbacks is when you make a mistake, how you come back from it. And we see a lot of quarterbacks, prospects over the years, like they're rhythm quarterbacks. When everything's going well, things are great. That was the issue with Bo Nix in college. That was the issue with Michael Penix at times. Again, we saw in the national championship. Like, there's certain guys in college football where things are great, they're making every single throw. But once adversity hits, it turns into a disaster. And that's what I'm seeing out of DJ Lagway. Like, when things are good for DJ Lagway, they're great. And I know this Florida program hasn't been everything that we thought it should have been, but when adversity hits for DJ Lagway and you see a mistake or two, it just seems to build up and build up and build up. I don't know. I don't know. I want to get your guys' really opinions down below. Are we doing a bad job? People around college football talking about college football, maybe putting too much hype on certain players because, again, our first round from year to year, the last couple of years have been completely different. How we've been projecting them and how it's been panning out. And this development of quarterbacks just hasn't been there. Going to be very interesting to see, again, this year's draft class. And I'm not even saying, like, again, Fernando Mendoza, a top transfer portal ad. Dante Moore, a guy that was a 5-star recruit in a big program. And Ty Simpson, the starting quarterback for Alabama. Like, those guys being the first round picks this year, they aren't shocks. They are not shocks. But again, guys that we had just aren't there. And why is that? Again, we've seen all these programs like a Penn State, like a Florida, like an LSU fire their coaches. We've seen again coaches being fired, and again, I haven't necessarily agreed with all of them being fired because I just don't know what coaches are going to be out there. Very interesting, like Penn State now. Brian Daboll is an option for them. Like again, but we just don't have the amount of coaching candidates out there to for the amount of fires there are, like the amount of quality coaches. I don't know. That I did want to discuss that with you guys. I want you guys to drop down below why you think these first round quarterbacks who we project just aren't panning out. Again, all different situations. It isn't necessarily apples to apples, but again, for two guys that we expected so much out of DJ Lagway and Garrett Nussmeyer getting benched, not on our bingo card.